If you have typed a question into Google in the last week or so, there is a pretty good chance that you got the answer to your question that you've asked without ever touching an actual link on the Google search engines page. Most likely, you actually got an answer from AI. So, what does this mean for your business? Today, I want to talk about what generative engine optimization is and how it is different from search engine optimization. Even though I'm getting the names confused, they're actually very different things. So, right now, SEO is search engine optimization. And the way that SEO primarily works is it ranks pages. So you go through your site, you know what keywords your customers are searching for, you make pages that have those keywords on them with some interlinking, some links coming into your website with the right authority and all the right things working on the search engine side. You're going to show up in the search engine results page, which is called the SERPs. Now, generative engine optimization, GEO, actually works completely different. And the way that it actually works is it is not doing pages, it's ranking sources. So, back when I was in school, and I don't know if you still have to do it in this age, back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, when I was in high school and middle school, whenever you wrote a paper, you had to do citations. You had to cite this thing, thought, whatever piece came from this other documented place. And that gave your paper authority because you weren't just making stuff up. You were quoting, respected researchers and other authors and things like that. That is how GEO works. It basically looks to see if you are authoritative and credible on a subject, then it will show you in the results. So I want to kind of go back to the results a little bit when I talked about if you, searched and asked a question. Say you've asked a question like, I need an emergency plumber right now, and you type that in Google. If you get that AI an overview, what it's going to do is be like, what do I do? I've got a leaky pipe, right? That's the kind of thing people will type into the engines now. And what that's going to do is first give you an AI overview, and then somewhere below that, the local businesses, and then way below that, the organic ranks. And so if that generative engine decides to say, here's the top 3 people I would call, most of the time you're not going to keep scrolling down and look at the map and try to look at their ratings and all the things, because the AI overview is going to give all that to you without you having to go do anything. And so most of the time, people are going to click right out of that first page of the search engine results and go straight to whatever company this, whether it's Gemini or Claude or ChatGPT, whatever, there's a million of them now. It's going to answer the question and help the consumer make a decision. So what's ended up happening is that almost 50% of searches now in Google will render an AI overview. So that means that SEO has become less about big volume and traffic and more about specificity and intentionality. So a user that is intentionally trying to solve a big problem is going to go through and look down at those, the normal search engine stuff and click the links and go do their research and all the things. They're going to be high intent, but less of them. The people that are just like, I don't know, I need a plumber in my area, but I don't need it now, or they're researching something about plumbing, or they want to do a DIY job, all that stuff. The engines are starting to answer all the questions and do all that work, and the SEO side is just completely changing. So, like I said earlier, Google and search engines rank pages. AI or GEO is trying to rank sources or bring in sources. So how do we show up in those engines? How do you show up in Claude or GPT or Gemini or Perplexity? The answer is you have to answer the questions your consumers are asking. So if I was that plumber, I would be saying, answer the question of what to look for with an emergency plumber. How much do emergency plumbers charge? What kind of things do emergency plumbers fix? What should I expect from an emergency plumber? I'm just making this all up. But if you know your consumer and you know the questions that they typically have, you want to answer them. But the thing is, you can't just go on your website and make a page and answer some questions. You've got to do structured markup. You've got to do FAQs on your site. You maybe need to make a video about those things. You need to be mentioned on someone else's website, linked or not. You need to be mentioned over here. This guy's an amazing emergency plumber. If there's 100 people that have said, Jim's plumbing is amazing for emergency repair, even if they don't link to your website, those are cited sources of your name being mentioned, and those generative engines are going to return that result because this business looks like it's organized, authoritative, lots of people are mentioning it. It answers all the questions about emergency plumbing. These guys must be good emergency plumbers, and that's how it works. Unlike SEO, where you can kind of buy links and sort of like muscle your way in, over here, can't really do that. You have to do the work to make the content that actually goes in there and says, we are authoritative in this space. And I don't just, like I said, I don't just mean website content. YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, other people's websites, podcasts. Generative engines are able to scour the entire internet looking for mentions about your business. And so when someone says, I'm looking for the most amazing dentist in Columbia, Tennessee for my children, it's going to go out there and look for who is mentioned, who has the authority, and it's going to return that and go, hey, these are probably the best people to take care of your kids. Because it would stand to reason through a generative engine's eyes that the most mentioned place and the most authoritative place and the place that's answering all the questions is the place that you'd want to take your kid to. And it's, frankly, it makes a lot of sense to me. I'm a very logic-driven person, and I look at it like it would stand to reason that the businesses that can answer the questions the best are probably the best at doing the work. If you've ever had any kind of work done to your house, like you're trying to put in a concrete pad, the guy that comes over that goes, I don't know, we might have to do this, we might have to do that, we could do this, if they seem unsure, and then the next guy that comes goes, oh, this needs a 4-inch pad, we've got to give it this much room, we need this kind of, frame, it needs to be sealed with this particular sealer, right? Think about it, they're two different people doing the same service. I'm going to go with the second guy. I'm going to go with that second company because they expressed depth of knowledge in a field and they weren't wishy-washy about their answers. The same thing is going to be true with the GEO. I also want to clear up that people do call GEO. GEO is kind of becoming the industry on our side as a marketing agency. GEO is becoming the things that agencies are saying. AIO and EO are basically terms for the same thing. GEO just feels much more all-encompassing, and I suspect that that's where the industry is going to land on what to call this. So at the end of the day, you need to know whether you're showing up in these engines or not, because I'm telling you, with 50% of the market share already on search, it's only a matter of time before people don't even bother going to a search engine. They just pick up their phone and go, hey, Claude, I need a dentist. I need to know what kind of oil goes in my car. Where's the closest automotive store? It's only a matter of time before we're just going to be asking the generative engines these kinds of questions. If you don't show up, there's a very, very good chance that your business is going to be damaged now and in the future permanently. And I'll also tell you, building authority and stance in a topic takes time, energy, money, all the things. You got to make content, you got to post content, you got to be authoritative, you got to be willing to do the hard work now or later. It's going to get only so much harder. So if you want to know, am I showing up? What should I be doing? How should I be doing it? All those things, please reach out to us at muletowndigital.com. Get a call booked with someone from our team. Let's look, let's do some searching. Let's ask questions we think your consumers are going to ask. And let's see if you show up there. Because if you don't, we need to make a game plan that gets you into there. And no, just doing SEO work or running Google ads or running meta ads does not qualify under the generative engine optimization work. They're very different things. They use similar tactics and similar pieces, but they're very different. I do predict that there will be a day where websites are generated to tell these engines what you know, and that consumers may or may not in the future actually visit them, which is the craziest thing. But the more I think about it, it's the logical step, right? If these engines are so good at knowing that that if they know me as the operator, right? And they know what I like and don't like, and they know my financial situation, and they know all the things, it's going to make a better decision about who I should hire than I can myself. And so the more that these systems learn about us, and it's a crazy thing to think about, but there will be a day where like you don't have to go compare 3 contractors, because it's going to literally go, probably the best contractor for you is this person over here. Now, right now, I'd say there's a 50-50 that they might get that wrong, but 5 years from now, they won't get that wrong. They'll know Adam has this much money, likes this kind of person, doesn't like these kind of things, is looking for this kind of business. The company is right here. And that day is coming, but that website is still going to be mission critical, because people are still going to compare. They're still going to look online. They're still going to search, but it's going to operate differently. And there's going to be pieces of your website that are there just to tell these engines, this is what I know, and this is what my company does. And almost like I want to show up for these kind of things, just like we've been doing for SEO work for the last, 10, 15 years or whatever it's been. I hope this is helpful. If you don't know anything about generative engines, you don't know anything about Claude, look, guys, you don't have to know that stuff, right? Business owners are good at doing what business owners do. And so this is what we do day in and day out. This is all that we do. And so please reach out, please talk to us, and let us get you pointed in the right direction at the bare minimum. And if you want us to work on plans and help you so that you can lock yourselves into these engines, let us know. We'll get you on some sort of a monthly retainer, and we'll start chiseling away at what needs to happen to get you showing up. You've got a great business. You want to make sure people can find it. You want to make sure that you're the recommended business and not your competitors. Thanks.